Wow, back at you again with another episode of Slamcast. We're in this like post-WrestleMania malaise right now. WWE is in their European tour, and we don't have a whole lot to talk about, but we're going to talk about it anyway. We're going to crank out another action-packed episode because we had the big debut.
Yes.
Shots were fired in Los Angeles this weekend.
Oh, hell yeah.
Or this Monday. We'll talk about that and analyze it and all its possibilities. And, I'm going to just say something off the bat. The New York wrestling scene and the wrestling world in general lost a true gentleman, I guess you could say, in every sense of the word. One of the nicest guys I've ever had the pleasure to knowing. Balls Mahoney passed away this Monday. Was it Monday?
It was
Tuesday.
Yeah.
Tuesday night. That's right, Tuesday night. I got Monday or Tuesday. He passed away Tuesday night at the age of 44. Please tell me I got that right, too, right?
Yeah, we're good. Yeah, we're...
Guessing right. Not guessing. I had the pleasure of sharing a locker room with Balls Mahoney a few times, and every time that, we met, he treated me well and treated me with respect, even though, him being him, he didn't have to talk to me. He went out of his way to talk to me. He sat in the back with the rest of us like the rest of the boys. He didn't, big league us or anything else like that. And he was generally interested in passing on his knowledge about everything he could. And he would just, share stories. And I am thankful for my time that I spent with Balls Mahoney, what brief time I had, and there are others who had a lot more time, and I'm sure they are just as grateful, if not more so. So I'm going to kind of dedicate, I guess, this episode to the memory of Balls Mahoney. One of those people that I guess if you told me that I would come to know in some small capacity when I was 16, I would have, thought that was pretty fucking cool, and I still think that's pretty fucking cool. So
yeah, it's 44, man.
It's sad. It's sad, man. I mean, you want to talk about everything else that goes into the life of professional wrestling afterwards.
Mm-hmm.
Balls was definitely one of those guys that lived life to the fullest. And he will definitely be missed by, everybody who he touched on these little rinky-dink independent shows, because, he was, again, like a fucking rock star walking in to a locker room of guys that had definitely absolutely watched ECW in the late 90s. Yeah, I was saddened by this. I was touched. I've had a few days to process it now, and that's how I feel.
You never want to see these guys die young.
No, but
it's an all too common occurrence.
Yeah, and it's getting to the point. I think Miguel said, or it was somebody who said that most of that ECW locker room from 1999, 2000, towards the end of ECW, probably about 50% of it is probably gone right now.
Mm-hmm.
That wasn't me, but that is a good quote, and I will take credit for it.
I was kidding.
I
was falsely attributing it to you, so whoever
I was taking it, so fuck it, we're rolling with it.
Yeah.
But, there's been fortunate several guys. I think Sandman's still alive. Dreamer's still up and around. Van Dam.
Yeah.
Carino, he's commentator, but it's like...
You know what I'm saying, though? It's for me and a certain amount of people who are nostalgic about that period of wrestling, when you look at all the people that have passed, it makes
he
you
was
realize...
definitely one of the icons of that ECW brand.
Exactly. He had the biggest balls of them all, that's for sure. Although I never experienced them.
Just wonder if Masato Tanaka found his brains after getting them scrambled by
Balls
in 06.
I mean, my friend CJ did take a chair shot from Balls Mahoney, and he did live around to tell it. So yeah, always a gentleman, and he will be missed. Yeah. So I guess we should just talk about it because it happened finally.
Yes.
After much hype and ado and a great deal being
teasing
made.
it on Twitter and Instagram.
I mean, yeah, Famous Hoot has been all over this pretty much even since the first word of the story broke. I don't even be surprised if Famous Hoot was facilitator Hoot, making this deal happen, getting his, one of his best friends, if not his best friend in professional wrestling, and working in the same company, in his own home country. But the Bullet Club, or at least that's what I'm calling it now, the Big LG, Luke Gallows, and Carl Anderson are finally officially in WWE. We haven't seen a good rail jumping beatdown in a while.
Yeah, they're doing this setting up tag tournament to determine who's going to face the New Day. Usos had just won the match, and all of a sudden, I'm watching on an allegedly hooky stream, and it starts freezing. As soon as these guys hit the ring, it starts freezing. Oh, great. My stream can't handle Sex Ferguson.
No, exactly. You just see this giant bald man.
Yes.
Shady face McPeter nuts.
Oh, man. It's just like, oh, shit. Oh, shit, this got real.
I put it this way. I did not watch it live. I had to watch it on YouTube afterwards because I fell asleep watching Raw, as I often do.
Yeah.
As I do in my advanced age nowadays. I fall asleep watching Raw.
In our Facebook group, you post, like, what happened? I fell asleep, and I woke up to Carl Anderson's bald head. Like,
yeah, that's literally what I saw. I mean, probably the pop from the crowd probably slowly woke me from my slumber. But when I went back and watched it, I mean, we hadn't seen a good old-fashioned beatdown like that. That was very outsider-esque.
Yeah.
And that was the first thing I really thought when I saw this. I'm like, man, I hope this is a new coming, maybe a second coming of the Outsiders, or at least that old NWO gimmick. I mean, why not? If you're going to bring those guys in, there's already the Bullet Club NWO parallels as it is. I mean, Bullet Club was a second-rate NWO ripoff. It did the same. It essentially did the same thing. They literally did the same thing the NWO did. It's just in New Japan, which you kind of say the NWO started in New Japan, but that's for a whole other podcast.
That's a whole other discussion that we could have. But I mean, it's happened. And beat the piss out of the Usos. Yeah,
and sometimes you say unnecessarily rough. Like, I mean, like that clothesline that Carl hit on the outside, that was a little fierce. That was a little Japan strong style clothesline. Like, I'm not saying the Usos are pansies and couldn't take it, but
oh hell no,
that was rough even for me.
Yeah, that was like, okay, he's gonna hit you with that clothesline and you're gonna feel it.
Yeah, all of a sudden say. Carl looked in pretty good shape. Better than probably the last time in his last Japan show.
Damn, I'm watching it right now. They're stiffing these guys, man.
They were working pretty snug with that. But I mean, I'm sure that was probably the direction they were given. They were sent to make an impact, and that's a good way.
Yep.
To make an impact.
And then head back. They back off. They head back through the crowd. And where does this go?
Where does this go? Because that's exactly what I was going to say. I wouldn't be surprised, since, again, they introduced this during the tag team tournament with the Usos, if this becomes the recurring theme of the WWE World Tag Team Tournament. I wouldn't say if they're going to interfere in every single match from here on out, but I wouldn't be surprised if here and now that you see them make this run-in thing until inevitably they interfere in either the finals again or during the actual title match of the winner of the winner of the tournament gets. I want to see this again. Like I said, I wouldn't be surprised, and I wouldn't be surprised because this is exactly how I would do it if they do this just like the Outsiders in the NWO, where they come in, they beat up, no real rhyme or reason who they beat up. They beat up the Usos one week. They come in, they jump Kofi Kingston. I don't know, that's making it too. They jump the Social Outcasts the next.
Right.
They jump Zack Ryder. Like just random attacks, make it random. Beat down.
It's just like no connection, no rhyme or reason. Just all of a sudden, one way, maybe lay out the vaudevillains.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I ain't even gonna go even further with this. I want Vince McMahon to be behind this. Like, I want to inject the poison in the form of the Bullet Club. They had been referring to him as Bullet Club on official WWE programming on their website and YouTube. Potentially, maybe they found a way to use the rights. Who knows?
I don't know.
He said sheepishly, we will see how this develops. But, I mean, I wouldn't be surprised. I wouldn't be that surprised. Because that's exactly how I would do it. But what do you think?
I just like the idea of them coming out and just beating the piss out of whoever. It doesn't matter. Singles, main event guy, tag team, whoever the fuck, just beat people up.
But like I said, if they want to focus this exclusively to tag team division, because they did definitely hype the fact that they were multiple-time IWGP tag team champions, 3-time IWGP tag team champions. So this could just be, Anderson and Gallows come to add another title to their reign and, stake their claim as the greatest tag team of this era.
Yeah, and you know what? The fact that he's Luke Gallows, I'm fine with it.
I was absolutely fine with that. You
don't have to call him Doc Gallows. You don't have to, because he was known as Luke Gallows in WWE. Mm-hmm. It could be like he left, he came back, and now he's just a fuck. Well,
and again, the only reason why they refer to him as Doc Gallows in New Japan is because that's just what he was referred to as in Impact Wrestling.
Mm-hmm.
He always referred to himself as the big LG. Mm-hmm. Outside of that,
because WWE doesn't want to really mention TNA, who's now corporate office is now in a warehouse.
Oh, we can talk about that too. Do we want? I mean, is that signal? No, I don't want to talk about TNA.
I didn't bring it up because I didn't think it meant anything.
Relevant. Yeah, that's not really relevant.
Yeah, it's just like it's TNA.
It's just
that Florida promotion.
Lol TNA.
It's that place that AJ Styles was wrestling in for like
12 years.
or 8 years. Yeah.
One of the places. One of the places AJ Styles was wrestling in over the last 12 years. Because they won't even think that as the place he was wrestling. It's one of. Everywhere he's gone, one of those places that he won titles. We'll talk about AJ a little later because I think he might, or we'll talk about it right now. I think AJ could factor into this if they wanted to go all out. I think AJ is more likely as the candidate to be a third guy if they were going to do this whole Bullet Clubs thing rather than Finn. Like, I know Finn has been teasing it on and on. It's like, this bulletproof whatever stable that he has
right
would have.
The Balor Club, whatever.
The Balor Club, yada, yada, yada. I just don't think he's essential to us. I think they could do this completely different and it would work just as well.
Oh, yeah.
It would work just as well with AJ at the head of it as it would Finn.
I'll say this.
And especially since Finn is still the NXT champion. If Finn lost to Joe, then I would have said, okay, that's on the board. But
yeah, but, Finn's still the champion. He's still carrying that brand.
Yeah.
He's going to stay down there. He's going to do his thing. And
he's going to be the guy there for at least probably the next 6 months, probably.
Yep.
They're going to be building up people to feed to Finn Balor is basically what it's going to be.
I think he's going to more than likely hold that title for a year.
He could. He very well could, because I don't see anybody that could come around and take it off of him. I mean, Joe is the only contender. Austin Aries is probably going to be his next big feud.
Is Nakamura an option?
Nakamura. Oh, just got the tingles. I just got the tingles even thinking about that. Because, again, Nakamura, who just made his, quote-unquote official WWE TV or NXT TV debut.
Yep. God, I got goosebumps right
now. I have a problem with that. You want to talk about that? Because this is one of the several problems I have with NXT and why I can't take... You're whistling, Miguel? Am I ignoring you?
Well, I was going to say something about Gallows and Anderson.
Oh, sorry. No, sorry. Okay, go on. Let's go back.
Yeah, I just saw the video. I just saw them debuting while you guys were talking. I want to trust that WWE is going to do right with this team because, like you mentioned, there are several different options they could go with this. There's like 100,000 ways they could take this. I don't assume that WWE is willing to do anything creative with anybody, so I'm going to take the WWE Devil's Advocate approach, and when I see Gallows and Carl Anderson coming out and they're just dressed as regular guys and they've got the bald heads and the beards, I immediately think the Bashams, and I immediately think what they did to both of those guys. Because if you recall, if you go back into the history books, those two guys were huge stars in WWE's developmental team, OVW. They were two of the biggest stars that they had. They brought them up to the main roster as just a generic tag team. And I have a really bad suspicion that might end up happening to Gallows and Anderson, not out of their own volition. I just think that WWE is going to get bored with them quick, and then all of a sudden they're just going to be two big guys that just go out there and beat people up and nothing else. I would think that if they are going to do something with them, they're going to strike while the iron's hot, because if they go months without doing anything with these guys, they're going to get bored and move on. That's just the way WWE works. And with these two guys as is, like I said, Basham's 2.0. If they do nothing with them, that's where they're going to pop up. And I hate to have that happen to them because, like you said, there's so many creative things that they can do, but I just have no faith in WWE in that regard.
I think as long as people are wearing Bullet Club shirts in drove, and that's still a top-selling shirt on ProWrestlingTees.com, which I'm pretty sure it still is, people are going to be supporting them in any regard.
Oh yeah, they're gonna get cheers, but we talked about this before the show. Is WWE has a tendency to tell the stories that they want to tell, regardless of what the fans think, unless you drag them kicking and screaming, like with the Daniel Bryan situation. It's a brand that they don't have control over. They don't have the rights to the Bullet Club. They can't make money off of the Bullet Club name at the moment.
Well, they said New Japan on their programming, so I don't think they wouldn't, risk the potential lawsuit without referencing them by name if they didn't have expressed consent to do so. So maybe they did work out some sort of deal that just hasn't been known, and this is their way of doing it.
Well, no, I'm sure they can mention where those guys have been because that's just stating fact. It's if you start selling Bullet Club T-shirts and they have.
No, I was saying I'm not going to say the WWE is going to start selling Bullet Club T-shirts, but I think people by recognition, people are still going to gravitate them, and they're not going to be able to ignore them. I'm just going to see how this tag team tournament develops, because if anything is going to be the most likely, opportunity for them to show up and keep seeing use. On WWE programming, it's going to be through this.
I'll say this, though. I had no idea. I never realized how huge Doc Gallows is until seeing him next to Carl Anderson. Like, I always pictured Carl Anderson as kind of like a heater of sorts, but he's like my height. He's 6 foot. Yeah, he's not very tall, but Doc Gallows is like 6'8". That guy's huge.
Yeah, they pulled off the little guy, strong guy, big guy tag team pretty well in New Japan, and there's a reason why they were 3-time IWGP tag team champions. I would be surprised if this is going to be the thing that is going to be the New Day's biggest threat going forward, because here is a legitimate threat to that tag team titles, and
yep.
Oh, man. So. All right, back to what I was saying earlier about NXT, and this is my problem with NXT, because I'm clearly just trying to fill time on this episode. They are very clearly taped that at WrestleMania Access. They even mentioned that it happened at WrestleMania Access.
Yep.
But yet they're talking about it like it happened now. They actually mentioned this big loss that the Vaudevillains suffered against the debuting Tomato Chompers and Johnny Wrestling. It's going to happen 24 hours before their big match on SmackDown. That's like, it's pants on head retarded to have your commentators mention time for, like, don't even date your product at this point if you tape, because it's just going to show that it's a dated product, and I have no real reason to watch it. I'm at the point now where I'm only going to watch NXT when I know Nakamura is going to be on it.
Mm.
I'm literally just going to watch NXT for Nakamura, and not very much else.
It's going to be rough once they start gutting that talent pool in NXT. I mean,
but here's the thing, though. Here's the thing: is I think that talent pool in NXT and what NXT, the developmental system, is designed for, is to replenish that pool. They're going to bring it up with new guys. There's going to be somebody new. Gargano and Ciampa are going to, could be that next wave of guys that's going to get over. You thought Apollo Crews was going to be, but they put the rocket ship on Apollo Crews, and Apollo Crews is going to be that. Injuries have been another reason why. So,
yeah. I mean, how many NXT guys did we see debut after WrestleMania? Apollo Crews. We saw Baron Corbin at WrestleMania. We have Enzo and Cass, the Vaudevillains.
Yeah, it's been a never-ending onslaught, and I don't think we've seen the end of it. I mean,
Bray Wyatt getting injured.
Bray Wyatt getting injured could facilitate more people coming up. Yeah, and the NXT system, I think, will be fine because they'll be able to replenish, because there's always going to be new talent coming up through the ranks. And whether or not it's going to be the same, I still think it's still going to have guys like Samoa Joe and Austin Aries still down there to, be the anchors. And then when the torch is being ready to be passed to the next guy, they'll be the one to pass the torch. So Finn Balor doesn't really have to pass the torch to that talent.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think that's about it, man.
Was there something
else? Do you have anything else you want to talk about, or else not? I'll go into an Iron Sheik treaty week, and this will be like the shortest Slamcast ever.
Oh my god, I'm just trying to think of, let's see, because we got Gallows, Anderson. I'm just trying to think of a hypothetical with how, if for Roman and AJ, the club with those guys.
That is one way to go.
I mean, do you have AJ start the Bullet Club and they help him win the title? Do you pull a big swerve and have them help Roman to get Roman over as a heel?
Be the Roman Club?
It'd be like something Shield, I don't know, Shield 2.0, I don't know.
I just call it Roman Club. Because it's,
There's already a Roman Club and Vince McMahon's running it.
Oh. I don't know. It's too soon to tell, but if I had to pigeonhole it, I'm not going to say that WWE is going to go that advanced with the storyline. But I also would be surprised if they do kind of trigger people's memories to go back to that. Oh, it worked in if this worked so well in New Japan, I think if they sort of did something sort of similar to kind of like what Bullet Club was to New Japan, sort of like this NWO invasion, it would resonate again with WWE wrestling fans, and people will stop complaining about the product so much.
I think what's gonna go ahead.
No, go on. What were you gonna say?
I was gonna say I think what's gonna happen, and I'm like I said, going back into the devil's advocate mindset. I think we're probably gonna see AJ versus Reigns, and it's going to be just a regular match, just to kind of feel out what the crowd's going to feel like. I think Reigns is probably going to go over, and then I think the sequel match, when they have their rematch, I think they're going to do something with Bray Wyatt, because they hinted at something between Reigns and Bray at the end of Raw, but I feel like that's even too lame obvious. Even for that's too obvious even for WWE's sake. I have a feeling what's going to happen is in their sequel matchup, you're going to see Bray get involved, and then instead of going after Reigns, he's going to go after AJ, and that sets up a summer feud between AJ Styles and Bray Wyatt, which
how hurt is Bray?
What?
They said it was a leg calf injury. Like he went down. He worked a singles match against Roman on a house show. I don't remember where the house show was. I think might have been on the tour.
I think it was.
It might have been just before the tour, I think. And he was in a match, and he was like calf or thigh or something in his leg, and he went down and had to call the match for no contest.
Mm-hmm.
And
he pulled a Kevin Nash.
I wouldn't say a quad, but it's like, in that leg
vicinity.
Region. Yeah, I don't think it's specifically a quad, but yeah, I don't know if it's that bad either. He could have just,
Okay. All right, I guess you're right. Like it slipped my mind that he was injured. Yeah, I forgot about that. So
that is the report. I don't know how reliable that report is, but we will see.
I don't know at that point. Like, I don't want to give WWE too much credit and think that they would actually pair AJ with the Bullet Club, because I think that's something that I think they would look at and be like, well, these fans are going to tell us what we want to book. Fuck them. We're gonna give them Baron Corbin. How about that? We'll put the Bullet Club guys with Baron Corbin.
Oh, jeez, don't give them any ideas.
Baron Club.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
The Wolf Pack.
Wow, that's bad. The Wolf Pack thing.
Yeah, exactly. It's not giving me any fucking ideas.
Yeah, I'd rather see Baron Corbin skyrocketed into a match with Reigns for the belt at this point, because I have a feeling, I've said it before, I think Corbin has enough of that faux tough guy look that WWE likes, that I could see him getting a Sheamus-like push at some point. Fuck it. Like, if they have no plans to do anything creative, go whole hog at that point. Give us Baron Corbin and Roman Reigns. Just really shit in our mouths while you're there.
I have faith in Roman's ability to put on a good match, that he will, make that match watchable, but I don't have a whole lot of faith in that. Like, there's faith, not a whole lot, though.
Yeah, he's a good worker, but he's not a miracle worker.
Yeah, he's not Shawn Michaels, like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, Shawn Michaels could have you come on and put a great match with anybody. I don't know if Roman Reigns is at least a main event, pay-per-view, Broadway,
No. If those two had to call a matchup, man, that's rough.
That's where you're gonna need the run-ins and somebody to. Yeah,
Yeah, keep your finger tightly over the crowd mute button.
Ugh.
Oh boy.
Wow,
oh boy.
I don't know who else they could put at this point, because I don't see a long-term feud between Reigns and AJ, because that's two baby faces. I don't know if they're going to really turn AJ. What
they seem to be doing is making Roman Reigns like a tweener, like not quite heel. They haven't quite pulled the trigger yet. They're like waiting people to see if this whole booing thing becomes a trend, because it hasn't really become a vocal trend to boo Roman Reigns until about vocal. There was always the smattering, and then it kind of turned to 50-50, and then
now it's starting to go.
Only now it's when it's going full 100% booze.
I think it's because you're starting to feel of the WrestleMania casual audience, and what you're left with is that poor audience that booing him. Like, now you're left with the Royal Rumble crowd, essentially.
See, I don't think, again, 2 years ago, people were cheering this guy out of, like, he was obviously one of the, definitely more over with the crowd in the Shield than Ambrose was.
But that's because they hid his negatives. There was a shroud of mystery, a mystique. He was the quiet badass who didn't do much except beat people up.
Yeah.
When they started having him cut John Cena-esque promos and doing silly shit, that's
when it started
him.
to.
Yeah. It's like seeing Batman in a ballerina outfit. You can't unsee that.
I think they tried to replicate the same formula that they had with other talent by letting the guy be himself and turning it up to 11. And, whether that's Roman Reigns, and a lot of people like to watch that on television, is a completely different scenario.
Here's where I disagree with you on that, is because of his promo work during his big push in 2015, was stuff that you would expect John Cena to say. It sounded that kind of silly, self-aware corniness. It felt very Cena-esque, and
I know, that's really hard to say. Winks to the camera.
Yeah, it goes back to what WWE with Lex Luger. It goes back to what they tried to do post Brock Lesnar when they were just pushing big man after big man after big man. When WWE finds a successful formula, they try to stamp somebody else on it. You know, what's better than having one cash cow than having two? And what they don't realize is that
when people see it as forced, it doesn't work. Yeah, because you mentioned Lex Luger. They had to push him, and when they had the Lex Press, and slam, Yokozuna on the USS Intrepid, whatever the fuck the thing was. Didn't work. They tried to shove The Rock in '97 down everybody's the white meat babyface. That didn't work.
Here's the thing, and the point I was going to try to make is, and this is something I always notice, is WWE doesn't understand that the most successful gimmicks are complete and mirrors of the previous successful one. Steve Austin got over because he was so anti-Hulk. John got over because he was anti-Steve Austin. Daniel Bryan got over because he was anti-John Cena.
Yes.
Yes, you need to, if you're going to position somebody else as your next big star, he can't be the same as the previous star, especially when that previous star is still around. We've got John Cena. We don't need two John Cenas.
Yeah, I mean, when they had Roman win the Rumble, the same spot Cena did 2 years prior, it didn't help at all.
But right now you don't have Cena, so
at this moment, yeah.
He'll
but
be back.
Before that, he was, he's going to be back eventually. I mean, that's obvious. I think they're starting to make Roman a little bit more savvy in terms of not giving him the corny one-liners, although that whole I'm not a good guy, I'm not a bad guy, I'm the guy thing, cool that shit down because that
reeks to me of t-shirt testing.
Yeah.
Like just trying to get a catchphrase
over. And also
over.
it's Vince McMahon using Roman as an analog to say, yes, he's the guy. I'm the guy, damn it.
People liked it once, they're going to like it every week.
I think at this point, and I know it's cliche to say this, but the whole heel turn thing, I'm not even saying it because I want to boo the guy. I'm saying it because he needs to nuke his character from orbit. He needs a clean slate.
It needs to be fucking Deus Ex Machina.
Yeah, you need to start with and then build as a likable babyface. And I think going heel will do that. It'll let people...
They'll throw shit at them.
It'll give people enough time to forget about the tater tots line, and then from there you can rebuild credibility. That's the big problem. It's like I said, the cat's out of the bag, and at this point you're fighting against the current. You need to kind of blend into the current and then fight against it. That way, now people will be able to see you in a new light. Like I said, I'm not one of these guys that just wants to boo Roman Reigns. I like Roman Reigns, but
I do
WWE
too.
did him
Bring on the hate,
favors.
IWC.
But yeah, I don't hate Roman Reigns. It's just they tried to make him Cena 2.0, and
they botched critical moments of the push.
Yes.
And people,
it's like with Cena. I got sick of Cena, not because I hate John Cena, as I hate the way he was booked. He always had to fucking win. LOL. It's it's one of those things where they give him these corny fucking one-liners, and they go over like a balloon. And then you get Enzo and Cass on Raw. You get Enzo saying, only reason I exist is because my mom and dad got it on. How you doing?
Here's the thing, though, and this is where I always defend John Cena, is the difference is he was over with the fans.
Yeah.
In 2007 when he first won the title from...
05.
Was it 05? Was it JBL, right?
Mania 21, yep.
He was over like a motherfucker back then. Like there were people that hated him.
No, I don't think there weren't as many people that hated him. People were excited because look, there's this new guy, John Cena, and then I
was watching him on SmackDown. In late 03, early 04 when he would be rapping every week. He was feuding against Paul Heyman.
Yeah, I didn't start turning on John Cena, honestly, until he beat Shawn Michaels at WrestleMania 23. That was kind of the turning point for me. Up until then, I was a massive fan of his. I still love his match that he had with Umaga at the Royal Rumble, that last man standing match.
He had an amazing match with JBL in 05, that I Quit match. Still one of my all-time favorite matches. But,
yeah.
And you didn't hear a lot of Cena, so like when Cena did get booed out of the building, like at One Night Stand, you know, I just chuckled like, ECW crowd. Of course. Van Damme's the guy. But it started to, for me, it started to really get sour when he buried the Nexus.
Even in hindsight, people say that was a bad idea. Like, even he admits, like, I fucked up.
But it was like, really, dude? It was like, okay, it's getting to the point where Cena wins, LOL. And it just got fucking old. The idea that, he'll be a big star as long as he never ever loses is ludicrous. Look at Bayley on NXT. She's still mega over with the crowd, and, she loses to Asuka TakeOver.
Both of them, sorry. Sorry, I got distracted. But yeah, for me, I would say the moment that lost me for Cena, honestly, I'd probably have to say the win against Bray Wyatt, because if there was one guy that should have gone over in there, it should have been Bray.
That was just another example of, really, you know what? I would not have had Cena beat Rusev, but that's just me. But
same.
That just seemed to be, there's like he was going to go up against Cena, but in hindsight, Cena did wonders with the U.S. title. I love those open challenges. Minus Sami Zayn himself on his entrance, but
they were good matches. I'll give him that. I don't subscribe to the same idea that he really put guys over. I think it was just he was doing the same thing he was doing in the main event, just in the middle of the card.
I think it was partly because he wasn't in the main event, and partly because these guys always looked strong in defeat, and they
were always elevated. I think just by wrestling matches with them, he elevated him to at least his level, or on a plane close to his level.
Because the idea that a guy loses his buried, no, they look strong in defeat, and even a couple of times, when there wasn't a decisive finish, it made sense in the story. I think Rusev came in and interfered after Neville hit the red arrow. So there was always that kind of doubt that maybe they'll go back to it at some point that, Neville never,
technically lost.
Yeah. It's like, I had him beat, and then Rusev came in and screwed me over,
Indeed.
Go ahead.
Sorry, no, what were we going to say?
I was going to try to bring us back to a point as far as the whole AJ versus Roman Reigns thing.
I think by putting him with AJ, they are basically drinking their line in the sand. All right, it's like, all right, well,
let's see where this goes.
You're going to boo Roman Reigns. You might as well boo him anyway, and this is what we're going to do. We're going to make Roman Reigns destroy all your heroes. And they're sort of like transition Baron Corbin's former indie killer gimmick, and that's going to be heel Roman Reigns, the indie killer. That's what I think our future is.
Isn't there set up for Seth and Roman at SummerSlam?
I think if Seth is able to come back by SummerSlam,
I think he will be. I think because it was November.
And they said 6 to 9 months.
Coming up on 6 now. I mean, I want to see him back. I miss Seth Rollins.
He is CrossFit Jesus, and if we see him back anytime soon, like in the next couple of weeks or months, yes, he will call him CrossFit Jesus.
Yeah, there's it's gonna be interesting how this lays out. I mean, we've got.
I think this is what it's all setting up towards. It's Roman's gonna clear the deck, and then Money in the Bank comes around, or something else comes around, and Seth's music hit, and he's like, "I'm back," and those two feud for the title, and then Seth becomes either the Authority comes back in some capacity, or who knows? There were a lot of people that went indiscriminately crazy this week over Shane McMahon having
control of Raw again,
saying WrestleMania meant nothing. I'm like, well, no, WrestleMania didn't mean nothing. It just they just changed it. Like it's wrestling. You could change these things on the fly.
Yeah, it's like that whole story. I don't know. It just felt to me that storyline just kind of that whole Shane Taker. Shane loses, he doesn't get control of Raw. It just kind of.
Well, I think it's now what they're going to try and build is who does Raw better, and then what they'll finally do is, I guess, Shane versus Triple H at SummerSlam, or they'll just redo it again with somebody else, and Shane will win, maybe, or something. I think we haven't seen the last of this control over Monday Night Raw.
Yeah, I mean, I'm really looking forward to how Payback. I'm looking forward to seeing Charlotte versus Natty for the women's title. God, I love saying
the
title.
Payback card is developing pretty nicely. Like I said, we already have Roman versus AJ.
I'm excited to see that match. That's going to be a good match.
Yeah. And then, like you said, Charlotte versus Natalya should be a great match as well.
Jericho versus Ambrose.
Jericho, Ambrose.
The Ambrose Asylum. I love that.
This was something that a storyline that I'm glad they went back to, because they sort of hinted at this like months and months ago at a potential Ambrose Jericho program.
Yeah.
The promos that we're going to get over the next couple of weeks between these two guys is just going to be fantastic. We saw it this week over the Ambrose Asylum human highlight reel Jericho segment. He covered up, how dare he profane the obscenely expensive Jerichotron 5000.
Never got the answer about that scarf, though.
No, never got the answer about that scarf. We've, again, just seen the beginning of entertaining promos.
Oh, yeah.
We will get out of this match. Oh. And, like I said, Payback card is shaping up quite nicely. So we'll see how this goes. Yeah.
So did you see, let's throw this out there quick, did you see the interview, the podcast Ken Anderson did about, he was doing some interview and he talked about how close he was to winning the title?
We had said this before. I'm pretty sure I said this on some show we did, but WWE was very high on Ken Anderson, and through his own fault, I'm blaming Ken Anderson for it. I'm not blaming corporate for that. I think that's Ken Anderson's fault, because they gave him every chance to succeed, and he just wasn't good enough.
Yeah, the story he told on that was Taker was, I guess, got hurt, so he wasn't going to hold the belt, so they had to take the title off of him. He was going to do it, and then he got hurt, but then later he found out the injury wasn't as severe as they made it out to be. So it's like,
he even say, so his defense is he didn't know his own body. Like, that's not a good defense. Like, you should know when you're physically able to perform and when you can. Or are you saying that they lied to him and said you have to be out for a while? Like, he
something like that. Yeah, it's his story, so I don't know. But it's like, bottom line, it's unfortunate that he didn't succeed
I think Ken Anderson had a very, being what he came from, he wasn't really anybody that known before he came to WWE, so he had a very small window to succeed. He got over for a little bit, but it was kind of like Wade Barrett. That world title window closed, and then once that world title window closed, where you can't realistically, feasibly see somebody as world champion, it's kind of hard to reopen that window again.
Well, what happened with his injury, and I'm reading off of Wikipedia, was he thought he had tore his tricep muscle off the bone in a matchup against Edge. And he was told that in situations like that, you'll probably be out between 5 to 7 months. As it turns out, the injury was actually, it was basically just a massive hematoma. You know what a hematoma is, like a big blood well.
It was a misdiagnosis.
Yeah.
And he didn't realize that if he actually tore the muscle off the entire shoulder, he wouldn't be, able to move.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And the second one is all him, though. The second time when he got popped during the Signature Pharmacy scandal, that's all him. I don't believe
exactly.
That.
The injury was the slow closing of that first world champion window, and then after that he was just kind of buzzing, and then
the second time that was just the window getting slammed shut.
Yeah. And then him getting the boot from the company.
And I don't know where I fall in that third time. The whole him getting booted out because people thought he was he was injuring people because he was the guy that Cena was wrestling when Cena tore his pec, and obviously the complaints from Randy Orton, which it's Randy Orton, so take that with as much of a grain of salt as you can. I mean, the only reason that I say that I debate that is you have a guy like Sheamus on there who has been known to rough up guys in the ring, whether on purpose or not so. And this is during the time of, heavy concussion scrutiny. I find it hard to believe that a guy like Ken Anderson was that injury prone, especially because I don't remember hearing about any of that during his TNA run at all. I don't remember hearing him being a rough guy to work with. So I don't know where to fall, but I don't know what to say, because when it comes to Ken Anderson, I don't know if he would have been main event material, especially during that period where it was basically the Cena Batista show at that point. I'll be honest, I was glad when I saw him pop up in TNA, honestly. I thought, all right, here's a guy who did have main event potential, but wasn't technically a WWE guy. He could have been for TNA what Luger was for WCW, where, he came from a more successful company, but at the same time, you don't necessarily think of him as a guy from that company. He could craft his own lineage, and and he did well. I mean, I'm a fan of Ken Anderson. I liked his TNA run. I admit they kind of realized. I think once Jeff Jarrett left, they kind of didn't realize what to do with the guy, so he kind of floundered in that whole Aces and 8 thing. But when he first came in hot, I was a big fan of his.
Oh, yeah, he came in, the whole gimmick.
Yeah.
It was, the guy can talk, he can work, he's got a good look, but this is also TNA in the 2010s.
Yeah. I mean, we still had hope at that point. There was still hope. At this point, though, I think his best bet will be to see if he can get a GFW contract, whatever that's worth. Because I don't think...
Or a GFW Gold contract.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
File this story, since you mentioned Global Force Wrestling. File this story under what the fuck Jeff Jarrett. I mean...
Yes.
And the pantheon of Jeff Jarrett bad ideas, this is probably one step below... should I bang Kurt Angle's wife? Yes. I want to see these commercials. I hope, some of the gold. If you're unfamiliar with the commercials, Global Force Wrestling lent their brand out to a company of gold traders. So they'll
Ponzi pyramid scheme. It's shady as all hell.
Yeah, it's not something that appears to be all up on the up and up.
Yeah, I'm reading an article here about the actual company. Basically, what it is they're working with a company called Carrot Bars, where if you go to the website globalforcegold.info, it's not even an actual .com, it's .info, which should tell you all you need to know. There's a video on there where he talks about joining the Global Force Gold program, where you put in your first name, last name, phone number, and email address. And at the bottom of the link that you click on where you can submit your information, it says you can receive an 8x10 autographed by Jeff Jarrett and some information about GFW. Fine, fair enough. The thing is that they are associated now with a group called Carrot Bars. Now, according to this, they are a German company that is a, quote, bank-independent trading house for merchandise and precious metals, especially gold bullion in the form of a card in small denominations. Some people have even called it a Ponzi scheme. It says here, it's a
super Ponzi scheme, man. It is super Ponzi scheme. They're selling gold back to people, and they're making money off it because gold fluctuates with the market, and at some point in time could be obscenely valuable.
This is worse. I would expect this from TNA, but I don't even think TNA would stoop to that level. And these are people who are moving into their own warehouses now as their headquarters.
Yeah, no, this is absolutely something that Jeff Jarrett would do. Because you know why? He probably got taken by these people.
Mm-hmm.
That's exactly why. And he's going to try and get the entire wrestling business into a Ponzi scheme. But we're not that dumb, Jeff.
Yeah.
Come join Slamcast Gold.
How about no? God damn it. Man.
Yeah, so we finally figured out a way to squeeze out an episode, and I'm proud of us in doing that regard. Because I didn't think we had a whole lot to talk about, and yet somehow, some way,
pad something out for a little bit. I mean, we're still waiting on the wonderful first annual Slamcast.
I know. This is a good time to do it. I'm trying to figure out a way where we could get everyone's votes and like submit it. As far as doing like me putting up a giant poll and everybody responding to it, I want to like. If I have to build a website, I'll build a goddamn website for it.
Dude, the Facebook group.
The Facebook, yeah, but a lot of people do not pay attention to as nearly as much in that Facebook group as I think it's literally sometimes 5 to 6 people at any most responding to any post. I want to have something that has a little bit more broad range. So.
All right.
I think there's websites you can do polls
Yeah,
on.
I'm figuring it out. Okay?
Yeah.
Get off my ass.
All right. Anyway.
Iron Sheik Tweet of the Week.
Iron Sheik Tweet of the Week.
Fuck him! I talked to him! I wanna know, are you the man or are you a fucking piece of shit? No good motherfucker! Fucking bullshit! Bullshit, Hulk Hogan!
Oh man, I love that Iron Sheik Tweet of the Week music. So, Shaky Baby, I'm gonna say, man, I wasn't that impressed. A whole lot of retweets of other people. I would thought Iron Sheik would have a whole lot of hilarious and insightful commentary to say about the Masters this weekend. Not a whole lot. I think Iron Sheik was, sort of devastated from the passing of Jack Mulligan. But I'm gonna say this one. He did have something to say about another legend that packed it in this week, and another team that reached legendary status. Kobe 60 and the Warriors both Iron Sheik class, and that's to me as far as reputations go, as high as it gets. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is your Iron Sheik Tweet of the Week.
Fucking bullshit!
Fuck to it!
Anyway, yeah.
Buddies, alright, so...
Man. I will say one thing about Kobe. I guess I saw somewhere that Shaq, maybe you can't score 50 points in your last game. He scores 60!
Yeah, I know.
Damn!
Yeah. He's good, that Kobe Bryant.
Yes.
We will miss him.
Yes.
I wish the Knicks had a player that could stay with us for 20 years. Anyway, just before I start going off on a hateful Knicks rant, let's get some plugs out there. Yep. Nick.
Oh, you want me to go? All right. YouTube, The Gaming Pegasus 187. Twitter, Gaming Pegasus 187. Facebook, Nick Horaceck, /MMA Revolutions, the Facebook group. I post this up there every Friday, Saturday, definitely before Sunday. I'm on Instagram, Wii U, Xbox Live, Pegasus 187, Supercard, same goddamn thing. I'm all over the place. I'm editing the shit, doing all that. Miguel, do you have anything?
Lawn Boys Post 1975, the home of Dave. If you want to see Dave Wade's videos about him talking about old UK console tech and whatever else is on his mind, check out his website. Check out his YouTube page. Lawn Boys Post 1975, the home of Dave. Love you, Dave.
Oh man, yes. Shout out to the
take us out, please.
Yeah, buddies. So check us out on our Retro Inland network. That's where you can hear all our lovely Slamcastings. You can follow me on the Twitter, Brandon Allhope. Go like the Nerd Chronicles. That's my other podcast. Go like Premier Pals. That's my other podcast. Go go support independent wrestling. Yeah,
Yes.
right. That's something I usually say at the end of every episode because, again, you could be seeing the next WWE superstar, and that is no lie because it's not like it's never happened before. You could be witnessing true ascension of greatness or someone stepping on their first steps into a much larger world, living their dream. And it's quality family entertainment by and large.
It depends on the type of show you go to. You go to something involving Joey Ryan, not so much.
You may see some penis grinding and or grabbing, which I want to say something in the things that slip through the cracks. Joey Ryan may have started a terrible, terrible trend of people trying to up him, and I saw a clip on YouTube of, I'm assuming it came from the UK because there was a lot of people commentating with British accents. A man whipped out another worker, I'm assuming the heel in the match, whipped out his scrotum, and I can't even, like, it was, I felt sort of dirty watching it. Like, I felt like I had just watched almost like gay porn.
God. Oh my God.
But Joey Ryan might have just kicked the hornet's nest as far as people using the testicles as a props in professional wrestling. Yeah.
See, I thought you were going to reference the photo that I saw. I don't know if somebody did a Photoshop, but it was somebody tried to do like a test of strength, and they used a giant wrench, like comically huge. Like I don't know where I saw it. Like I don't know where I saw it. It was on my Facebook page, and like he was like, it looked like he was straddling this giant, comically sized monkey wrench. And I don't know where I saw this. I may be hallucinating, guys, but I know I saw something similar.
If you are, we're definitely using that because that's intellectual property.
I saw that.
Oh shit! Okay, never mind.
Oh, you know what I'm talking about? The big wrench?
Yes.
Okay. So it is
God
real.
damn it, Joey Ryan.
So, all right, for the absent Dave Wade, for the absent Michael Burhan, for the absent Tom Shaw, for Miguel Leon, who is here, for Nick Horaceck is here, I am Brandon Liggan saying, go forth and spread beauty and light. This has been Slamcast. Yes, Slamcast. Brought to you by Bootios. Yes, Bootios. They make sure you ain't booty. Take care. Go forth and spread beauty and light. Yeah.
Peace, love, and humptiness.
Peace, love, and humptiness. Thank you very much, Miguel.